Welcome back to the channel for another tour of the world's most incredible archaeological finds. Once again, after searching worldwide for discoveries that amaze us, we have brought them back for everyone to enjoy. We have incredible stories ready for you, and we don't want to delay any further. There's just enough time for you to press the like button before we start. Regardless of their location in the world, every ancient civilization shared a common interest in the stars. Astronomy grew in various ways around the world and held different meanings for different cultures, yet it captivated everyone. For the Inca, their main site for astronomical studies was Horca del Inca in Copacabana, Bolivia, near Lake Titicaca. It is one of the few pre-Hispanic monuments in Bolivia that the Spanish conquistadors did not destroy in the 16th century. The Spanish were aware of the site, though, and called it Horca del Inca, which means gallows of the Inca in English. They thought these structures resembled a place of execution, but they were not. Even the Inca part of the name is incorrect, because although the Inca used it, it was actually created by the Chiripa people in the 1400s. Even in its ruined state, the structure still functions as intended. At noon on the summer solstice, the sun hits the cross beam of the structure precisely. Just as Stonehenge is the world's most famous stone circle, Tutankhamun's tomb is the most famous Egyptian one, but it isn't the richest. Among all the pharaohs' tombs we've found so far, Susenes Thebes, the Silver Pharaoh, is likely the richest. It was discovered in Tanis, Egypt, by the French archaeologist Pierre Montet in the year 1940. Susenes was the ruler of Lower Egypt 3,000 years ago and was barely noted by historians until they witnessed the splendor of his burial chamber. There, they found the previous king inside a coffin made of pure silver. Silver was scarce in Egypt during that period, making it more precious than gold. The presence of a large amount of silver in this tomb indicates it was likely imported from overseas. However, this doesn't mean there was no gold present in the vault. Montet also discovered a stunning solid gold death mask and a golden lapis lazuli collar. The extravagant nature of the burial items could be related to the duration of Susenes' rule, which spanned around 40 to 50 years. Holding power for such a long time is particularly rare in what is believed to have been a time of significant instability in Egypt, so maybe he was an important pharaoh indeed. Archaeologists are still trying to solve the mystery of the Pyrgi tablets, but it's taking longer than they anticipated. These 3 golden tablets were engraved about 2,500 years ago. The engraver kindly used both Phoenician and Etruscan languages. That's useful because we've never been able to completely transcribe the ancient Etruscan language. So, with a bit more effort and comparison to the Phoenician text, we might be able to use it to finalize our understanding of the written language, similarly to how the Rosetta Stone helped us decipher the code of Egyptian hieroglyphs. The artifacts were found at the base of an Etruscan temple in Lazio, Italy, in 1964. Many historians compare the Pyrgi tablets to the Golden Orphism book, which is about 100 years older and is often described as the oldest surviving fully intact book in the world. That was also written in Etruscan. You would like to think that with these texts, we would have enough information to translate the entire language once and for all. We have not quite achieved that yet. The entire old temple city of Bagan in Nyungu, Myanmar should be considered as an ancient archaeological wonder. There are over 2,000 temples here, some more impressive than others. Scattered among the trees and forming a landscape unique to the planet, the temple spires used to shine brightly in the sun. However, even in their partially ruined condition, they are still breathtaking. Bagan was the capital of the pagan empire during the 12th century, and some sources say the city contained as many as 10,000 Buddhist pagodas, stupas, and temples at that time. Natural disasters caused the loss of many people, and frequent Mongol invasions worsened the situation. Eventually, the Mongols ensured that the city was left without inhabitants. Today, Bagan is deserted and covered in vegetation, which only adds to its surreal atmosphere. All 26 square miles are now a protected historic area. Conservation and restoration projects are allowed. Actually, these efforts are the only way many of these temples will make it into the 22nd century. The most famous ancient stone circle in the world is Stonehenge in Wiltshire, but it's not the most intriguing one in Wiltshire. That title belongs to Avebury Henge, the largest stone circle on Earth. Archaeologists have been able to determine that these megalithic stones were placed around 4,600 years ago. But beyond that, we know almost nothing about them. There was no settlement here when the stones were placed. The village of Avebury was built in the middle of them. Experts say there were once 600 stones here, although only 76 are still visible today, with a few more buried beneath the ground. It's possible the majority of the stones were destroyed by the Romans, or later by early Christians, who might have considered them pagan. Bigger stones are placed among smaller ones in lines, perhaps marking a path for those who used the site to follow. The most popular idea is that this was a place for pagan rituals, which is why many modern pagans come here now. However, there is no strong proof for that notion. If you brought lunch to school every day as a kid, you likely used a lunchbox. You might even bring one to work today. If so, you share a habit with people from the Swiss Alps from 3,500 years ago. We know this because in 2017 we discovered one of their lunch boxes. Amazingly, it still contains remnants of the grain that was once inside. The box is wooden and has endured through the years because it was encased in ice near the mountaintop. The ice melted not long ago. A chemical analysis showed faint traces of wheat and rye in it. Maybe the person who lived in the Alps had porridge with them. They could have chosen to carry a ceramic container for food instead of a wooden one, but that would have been heavier and not as practical for what could be a long trip. Hikers pay attention to the weight of what they carry nowadays, so it's likely they did the same thousands of years ago. Here's another burial site created for a powerful ruler from ancient times. This particular site is the resting place of Liu Fei, who governed Shandu in ancient China's empire around 2,100 years back. The location of his tomb was uncovered in Xihui County in the year 2014 and is part of a trio of tombs collectively known as the King's Mausoleum by archaeologists. When the mausoleum was discovered, there were indications that it had been plundered by ancient grave robbers. However, the robbers somehow overlooked more than 10,000 artifacts, including many made of valuable materials such as lacquer, jade, bronze, silver, and gold. The personal tomb of Liu Fei also had several full-sized chariots and a set of smaller ones too small to be useful, indicating they were likely made for decoration. The whole mausoleum was probably covered by a large burial mound, but it was destroyed by quarrying, and the tombs might have been too if they hadn't been found in time. The presence of numerous weapons in the burial chamber was expected for a ruler famous for admiring bodily power. However, the several musical instruments discovered with them could imply he possessed an artistic nature that is not recorded in historical documents. We started this video near Stonehenge in England, and we're returning there now for another discovery made in 2016. In November that year, archaeologists confirmed discovering a 5,600-year-old religious center near the stone circle. If their estimate of the age of this religious center is accurate, it was built over 1,000 years before Stonehenge. The complex is more than 600 feet across, and it's the first discovery from the Neolithic era to be made near Stonehenge in over 100 years. The site is made up of a series of ditches divided by earth banks with wooden fences forming two big circles. Most of the site can't be seen without special tools, but modern tech can find it underground. Enclosures with walkways like these have been discovered in Germany and Denmark before, as well as more than 70 in England, but very few are of such a large size. Remains of animals and broken pottery have been uncovered at the bottom of the trenches, along with pieces of human skulls. It's because of these discoveries that archaeologists suspect religious ceremonies took place here, but it's impossible to know what those ceremonies were like. April 2020 was a busy time for archaeologists in the city of Suffolk, Virginia, United States of America, as they sought to excavate more than 12 old boats and ships at the bottom of the Nansemond River. The boats were hidden openly for many years and are now called the Ghost Fleet of Suffolk. Some parts of the boats were always visible, but their total number was only revealed when an aerial photo was taken with a drone camera in the year 2018. There is no pattern to the boats. Some are large and some are small, and they served various purposes, from basic transportation to oystering and roofing. The oldest of them has been dated to the American Civil War of the 1860s, with the most recent having sunk somewhere around the time of the First World War. Local history experts explain that there used to be an oyster restaurant and a small pier right here just over 100 years ago. This might clarify why there are so many shipwrecks concentrated in this spot. Today, the area is privately owned, meaning the boats can be researched but will not be taken away. As we're discussing artifacts made by indigenous people of the Americas, let's visit the Chumash Painted Cave State Historical Park in Santa Barbara, California. Although the term State Historical Park might imply something very large, this is in fact a relatively small cave filled with art. The cave's conditions have kept most of the art intact, preserving even the brightness of the original colors. Historians consider the cavern significant because its art was made in the early 1500s, before Californians met Europeans. It captures their art in its truest form. There could be hidden messages in the paintings, but if there are, we don't have the knowledge to interpret them. Many of the paintings depict medicine wheels, which are easy to recognize, but the repeated paintings of objects that resemble vehicles with wheels are more difficult to comprehend. It is likely that they have a symbolic meaning that we are not aware of. They are just as much a mystery to the modern Chumash as they are to us. Fleckenstein Castle in Alsace, France, is a beautiful ruined castle. It's nice to see, but it's not what it used to be. In the 12th century, the castle was considered one of the most secure fortresses in Europe. It was constructed by the wealthy and influential Fleckenstein family and remained under their control for more than 500 years. From this location, they had the ability to control the nearby area and maintain their power in the region. Finally, in the 1600s, King Louis XIV's armies managed to remove them. Once the king's forces succeeded, they demolished a significant portion of the castle with explosives as a form of retribution. The Fleckensteins kept control of the ruined castle even after they lost, but their long guardianship finally ended in the year 1720 when the last Baron of Fleckenstein passed away without a male heir. It was first opened partially to tourists in the year 1871, but most of the castle remained closed to the public until structural repairs and reinforcements were carried out over 3 years from 1997 to 2000. Today, it welcomes about 70,000 visitors each year. The Namib Desert is more than 1,200 miles long. It extends along the southwestern coast of Africa. Throughout this desert, there are many examples of ancient rock art. Many of these have been carefully studied by experts only in recent years. Those experts are starting to think that what seemed like repetitive drawings of antelopes could actually be 3,000-year-old depictions of a rite of passage for young girls becoming adults. The antelope, known as the kudu, might represent young girls learning how to act as women within their desert hunter-gatherer society. The legs of the animal are positioned like a human's if they were grinding grass and grain seeds, and its rounded belly suggests it might be pregnant. It is said that kudu were chosen because they are gentle, friendly, and the females work together to care for the young when the males are not around. The spiritual leaders of the hunter-gatherer community may have viewed them as examples for women. Subscribe now and enable notifications so you catch everything. Exciting discoveries are waiting for you in each video. Appreciate your support. Catch you later.